All right. Hey folks, we're gonna give this just a minute for you all to file in before we officially kick off. Though we will do our best to not waste a single minute here with our brief 30-minute check-in and conversation. So I see the numbers still driving up. I'm gonna hang tight for just a minute and then I will get rolling. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great. And I am, all right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I don't like to waste minutes here. Um, Hi, everyone. I am Erin Los Cutraro. I'm founder and CEO of She Should Run. I want to just welcome everyone and offer some gratitude for those of you who are able to join today and those of you who are watching this recording a little bit later. Um, and just offer a few opening remarks, and then I will invite our speakers to take it away with some questions I have for you. So, um, I want to state um, what is the reality of where we're sitting today, which is, in a moment of real uncertainty for a lot of folks and a lot of reflection happening after last week's election, and we are just days after that. So, acknowledging that none of us are really certain what the days ahead will bring or how we're going to show up in those days. But again, I just want to celebrate that so many of you raised your hand and said, "Hey, let's do this. Let's at least touch base about the things that we can be doing in our community right now." For those of you who aren't as familiar with She Should Run, know that we are a national nonpartisan organization working to help women see their potential in elected office. We, of course, work in the space of gender equity. This is a space doing deep reflection right now, and you all are part of that in this conversation. Um, I'd love to, just before we bring our speakers on, I'd love to just take a moment to ask a question of all of you. So this is a real-time poll question. Just doing a temp check before we kick off the conversation. Here we go, popped up. Look, magic. Okay. So here's the question, and I don't want you to overthink this. What mindset are you in right now? And I want to tell you that this mindset might be changing by the hour. So it is okay. Like, what's the mindset you're most feeling in the right now moment in the space that you're sitting in? And I'm going to give everybody just a minute. And I think this will help sort of just um, drive some of the questions and drive some of the responses from our really incredible speakers we have today. Okay, so here's what I am seeing. I'm seeing a lot of you in a lot of different places, and the majority of you in a place of wanting to explore and educate on ways to get involved. And for those of you who aren't feeling that, you're feeling all of the other ways, that's okay too. We're gonna dive into a lot of these pieces, and I know some of you are just here to listen. That's all right. So let me share the results with you. There we go. Okay, great. We'll do more reflecting on that as the conversation goes. I know you're ready to get into it. So let me go ahead and invite our speakers to join us here. We're joined today by Indiana Representative Victoria Garcia Wilburn, and I'm going to close out this poll here, and Tennessee Senator Raumesh Akbari. I want to set the stage that what we've invited them to do today is to answer your questions about what you can do now and in the future to create and build on how to get more engaged, or perhaps you were engaged, but you're figuring out, was that the right way to be engaged? But you want to show up in your own leadership in your community, and even if that's not today, that's okay. So we have a short time together. I want to jump into some of the questions that we've received from audience members. Before I do that, I want to remind you that you can still submit questions during this event using our Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We're going to do our best to answer your questions, but if we don't think it's not because we didn't hear you. We're processing a lot right now. This is the first of many conversations to come as we all reflect as a greater society on how we can get more women's voices into the halls of power and what we need to be doing. So just consider this one of many, and that we're hearing you even if we don't address your questions. So with that, Senator and Representative, I would love to just kick off, and I'll let either of you jump in as I sort of um, send questions your way that we've received. The first question, I think, is what we heard most, which is how can I effectively advocate for the things that I believe in and stay engaged in politics or the issues I care about while I don't see the majority of people around me, maybe in my community, caring about the same things, perhaps based on election results, perhaps based on just how we're feeling right now. So I'm just curious on how you'd respond to that.
Well, I mean, I'm in an extremely red state, in Tennessee, where all three chambers, I mean, two chambers in the governor's office is controlled by the Republican Party. And a lot of times our interests don't align, right? What I would say to folks is you will find your people. You have to figure out exactly what it is you want to work on. Pick that one subject matter, that one topic. Don't try and spread yourself too thin. You can't save the world, but you can save parts of it, right? And if we all work together, then we can save the world. So I'd say find your people. If women's rights or women's choice, if that is something that's important to you, you will have groups within your city that finds that important. If you have elected officials that champion those issues, a lot of times they can connect you to nonprofits and other groups that are working in that area. But volunteer, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you do that, you organically connect with people whose interests are aligned with yours, who are working for a better cause, and who are not just, you know, not to say it's wrong to just complain about things, but they're actually out there doing something as well. And I will say, caveat, take your time. Last week is
Yes.
very raw. And I'm at the Capitol. I had to immediately jump into some task force meetings
Oof.
and, still trying to process everything and what that looks like. So take your time. But certainly volunteering, in my opinion, with groups that are aligned with the issue that is important to you is the best way to find community.
Thank you, Senator Akbari. And Representative, welcome. So glad you could join us. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I'll add is that, reminder of no matter the blue or red demographic in your state house, that belongs to you. That
Mm,
house is the people's house, and your voice and your passions deserve to be heard. When I step into the door of the state house, I essentially become apolitical because I want to be a fierce champion for the issues that my constituents care about. And if I'm letting a preconceived notion about how somebody feels about other issues, then that gets in the way of the good work that I'm doing. So, I have a mental and behavioral health background as a
mm,
clinician. And so, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
mm,
So let's focus. I'm going to encourage us all to focus on one issue that we can help champion, where we feel heard, where we feel seen, and that we don't retract because now more than ever, we need human connection. Now more than ever, we have to step outside of our keyboards and lock arms with one another and remind each other that our community is better when we're unified, not divided. And
mm,
so take care of yourself and pursue your passions very personally, because I echo the senator's sentiments. We cannot save the world all in 1 year,
mm,
can't save the world in the next 4 years, but we can address one issue at a time.
Isn't that the truth? Just holding my own moments on that of the uh, uh, acknowledging the time that it takes and the essential nature of just giving ourselves the time that we need to give what we can in any given moment. We've gotten a lot of questions about young women in particular, and especially college students, and those who we so desperately need are kicking off their advocacy in many ways. um, specifically asking us like what type of advocacy actually makes the difference. I think it's a real question around, you kind of peel back that layer there, and it's like, does my time matter? How do I know where my time matters most? I'm curious how you both respond to that.
I'll start off this one.
Thanks.
As a mother of a freshman in college right now, I probably took the most difficult phone call of my
Mm,
life when she called me Wednesday morning and said, "Mama, as a Black woman, how do I get out of bed today?"
mhm, mm,
And I reminded her that we've instilled in her central values that are going to be enduring no matter who the president of the United States is, no matter who the Speaker of the House is, no matter who's
mm,
leading the Senate, that she has values that she can lean into at this time. And my fear is that our young people become disenfranchised because they
yeah.
can't see the change, because they
Mhm,
have grown up in an instantaneous world. But if history is any teacher of our progress,
yeah.
we know that unity does prevail.
Mhm,
And so I encouraged her to take the time again, but to even more fiercely pursue the things that make her a phenomenal woman in this country.
mhm.
And so she'll do that. She's an Air Force ROTC. She's a future
Incredible.
healthcare provider, and she's my daughter. So
Yes.
she is going to shine in some way. And I know that's the same for every woman on this call.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I would just say,
Senator.
I would say, it is very hard, right? I think Representative Wilburn is right. You
Mm,
have folks who, I mean, just this cell phone by itself I could order groceries, I can order lunch, I could, the other day I bought a washer and dryer. I mean, like, and it was delivered within 24 hours. Like, this type of culture, I think people forget that change does take time. You
mhm,
look all throughout history, every major movement for equality took time and it took dedication and sacrifice. And the key to remember is usually lightness will prevail. Usually the light
yeah.
will prevail, no matter how dark it seems.
Mm,
And you can just look at the African American experience from bondage to Jim Crow to mass incarceration. But then you have Obama and you have
yeah.
Kamala Harris and you have,
Yeah.
all these folks through history who didn't give up and keep fighting, right? And so that's what I would encourage them to do. When I was in college, I went to Washington University in St. Louis, and we hosted a debate
Mm,
between George Bush and John Kerry, and we were all so
mm,
excited. And we had these hot pink T-shirts that said John Kerry give George Bush his pink slip, and everyone was so excited. And then we were not victorious. And I think
yeah.
you can either run from it or you can run towards it. I was,
Mm,
you know, she should run towards
yes.
it.
Yeah, we're running towards it.
Yes, and again, you will find you're not the only
Yeah.
one doing that. And bit by bit, it will make a difference. And it's just, I don't want to say be patient because I don't like the narrative of wait your turn, wait your time. Like, I was 29 when I
That's
got
right.
elected. I'm 40 now, but I think if you're focused on the work, it will come. So.
Yes. Speaking of running, I'm curious right now, and Senator, perhaps I'll stay with you on this, and then I'd love to hear from both of you though. Um, we at She Should Run are very much focused on the starting line. So our resources are all about how we can nurture and support women who are at that very beginning of taking a peek behind the curtain. That doesn't mean we don't have women that come to us that are saying, I know I want to run, and we're able to, offer some resources that help them demystify what else is out there for later stage support. But this place of the very starting line, and we know, post 2016 election, so many women stepped up for the very first time to run for office. If a woman is listening in today and they have not thought about running for office before, but they're getting that little bit of twinge, like maybe I need to think about this in my community. What advice do you have for them? What should they be doing right now as they're in that, just should I be thinking about this right now stage?
I think they need to think about their goal, like what they want to accomplish, and if political office or a particular political office helps them get there, right? Like I know that criminal justice reform and education reform, economic development, those are key topics for me. I know that the majority of that type of regulation is on a state level. There are things I can do on a local level,
Yeah.
but so find out one, if what office is right for you. Is political office right for you? Can you be more effective on the other side of the table? And then also, I would say, and this is because we are all humans first, you need to look at your own situation, right? Is this something, because it requires a lot of sacrifice? It requires a lot of time. Is this something that you feel is going to be healthy for you? You're going to
Yeah.
have support of family and friends because it's extremely lonely. And you know, I think those are some key things to consider.
Yeah.
And again, is it the right time, right? So I was being mentored by someone. I thought I was going to run for office when she retired, and she never retired. Like she just passed away maybe a year ago. And
Mm.
so she suggested I run for, and maybe if I hadn't run for another seat, but she suggested that. And I wasn't even, I was thinking I had so much time. I was not ready in my mind to run. We had a conversation about me shadowing her
Wow.
June, and in January I was being sworn in to serve with her. And so it's like, so I think also look at opportunities that exist and just make sure you're ready for them if that's what your goal is. Like I knew from a little nerdy sixth grader that I wanted to be in public service and I wanted to be an attorney.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of taking that step forward. But that's what I would tell them. And just know that you have time. I mean, everybody,
Yes.
after Tuesday, you want to kind of just get in there, burn it down, and rebuild and all those things. And try not to, I'm trying not to walk down the hallway and give people dirty looks because I'm all
Yeah.
about let's focus on what we can agree on. I'm in the super minority. So I'm always like, let's focus on what we can agree on. I'm
Yeah.
be mad at you about this, but so just give yourself time. Whatever way you decide to fight, whatever, if you decide to run for elected office, give yourself the time you need to get to that point.
Excellent. Thank you,
Oh, and I got to say
Senator.
one more thing. If you
Oh, yeah.
lose, that doesn't mean that you lost, right? It just might be redirection. Like I'm good friends with
Oof.
Mendel Barnes,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. He ran when I met him, he was a state rep. He ran for state senate, got the brakes beat off him. And then he ended up being lieutenant governor. And you
Wow.
never know what your pathway is. So don't look at defeat as defeat. It might just be redirection.
Great. That's great advice. Representative.
Yeah, that is great advice. I mean, the only thing I would add is thoughtfully think about the intersections of your story to be
Mhm.
useful in service. So I think we all have a really personal story about why we feel passionate about certain issues. And I think there's a real desire for authenticity
Yeah.
in political spaces right now. I too sit in a
Mm.
as a part of a super minority party in my state. And so we have the three chambers that are all governed by one party. And I really think that this was my first reelection. And, it wasn't, it's a very competitive district. And I think I know that I leaned into my own personal story now more than ever. And people, I think, are craving that authenticity. So, if you're passionate about special education because you have a child with special needs, maybe it's time for you to consider school board. If there are issues at the state level that are not being addressed, think about how your own personal story can help your service trajectory. I think as women, we tend to dumb down our accomplishments or our significance.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge all the women on this call to um, really write those things down because when the time does come for you to serve, you can point to the list of accomplishments and steps that you have taken to land in this place. And I think
Yeah.
that's so critical. So I'm just excited for others to join me in their state houses in 2 years or 4 years, whatever your terms are. But it can happen. I mean, I won my first race by 248 votes. And this time I won by 6 times the amount.
Yeah.
So, our stories are valuable. There are superpowers. Lean into our lived experiences.
Yes, yes. And it feels like a natural layup too for me, for anybody who's listening to tell you that She Should Run has these resources to help you think about, what are those things that you care most about? What offices are out there that may fit, match between the thing that you care about and how that could show up in elected service. I want to share one question that we got here from an audience member. I'm lucky to live in a place that has a lot of women represented in local and state government. I'm keen to get involved, but not sure if I'd rather be behind the scenes or as a representative. Do you have recommendations on how to explore the various options? And I would like to add to this person's question, while honoring their question, that we get this a lot, is the question from women coming to us saying like, I'm being encouraged. I see the opportunity maybe, but actually I think I would rather be behind the scenes. And I'm curious if either of you have a, 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 a response to that you'd like to share.
I'll start briefly. If you're not ready to be forward facing, there is a woman whose campaign you can support. So I have an all women team. I've been very
Incredible.
excited about that all women team. We understand each other in a lot of different ways. And it also is a front row seat as to everything that it will take. And so I know that my campaign manager this last cycle is a mom to two young boys with special needs, and she wants to run for Senate one day. This win was her win. I mean, worked her tail off
Mm,
with me. And my network has now become her network. So when she does run, when that time is right for her family, she will already have a springboard to launch that forward facing entity. But there's actually no one behind the scenes. Everybody just has a different part. So it's just like when we put on a production, we couldn't do it without the cast members and the stagehands and the orchestra, and it all comes together in beautiful synchrony. So none of this less than. You being
mm.
behind the scenes is just as important. And so see yourself in those spaces.
Yes. Senator, anything to add there?
For sure. And if anyone's ever worked with an elected official, you know that the folks that don't have the title are the ones doing the most work and who bring a lot of
Yeah.
times way more to the table. But yeah, no, it will feel right. And if it's not, it's not, and it's okay. Yeah, and no one can tell you that you're ready to run for office. That's a decision that's very personal because at the end of the day, while everybody helps get you there, you're the one that's going to have to sit in that seat and take those votes and be away from your family and go to these events and all these other things that you will do.
Yes. Yes. It's so true. And I think, look, what I have found in doing this work, and certainly of the women who come to She Should Run, is this sort of wrestling that you do with your own, what is your own path in this, and this reality that the path to elected office too isn't linear. We always do the, I'm doing the visual because everybody thinks it's just this obvious straightforward path, and in reality a lot of people are playing all sorts of roles in their communities and in the things that they care about, before and after they think about a real run for office. And so acknowledging that that's an essential piece of the puzzle, especially in now. And certainly we're seeing a lot of questions. I can't get to all of them, but know that the questions around, how do we do this in community? How do we work smarter together? I think this is what you're saying, is just knowing that you're all piece of these really important roles, that it takes to make the whole system work, and to work for more people. So with that, I am just going to say a couple things, and then I have one more question for you. So for Senator and Representative, don't go anywhere, please. I want to make sure that I'm offering proper thanks to both of you. I know this is both a time very close to a really big election for you, for your constituents, for your communities. You made the time for this today. I know, that says in spades how much you care about seeing that next generation of women step forward. And I just appreciate both of you so much for making this space. I also just want to thank the women who are thinking about this. Look, like I said, we're not going to get to everything today. We wanted to get a pulse check. We're going to do a survey behind this. I just want to put a plug for it, please, because I believe wholeheartedly right now that we're not operating in a moment in time where business as usual around gender equity is going to work. We really need to think and listen and do this together and think about, what are the ways that we've always been working that really work, and what are the new ways that we need to work. There's a lot of really important thinking to come, and we need to all be in that together. So please know that when we're asking you questions, it's because we're gauging how we can both be a service to you and service to other women like you who are in the same position, thinking about the same things. Um, I want to just again put a plug for our resource center. So She Should Run's resource center is completely free of charge and always accessible to anyone who wants to step in and think about how do you show up in your community? What are the steps you can take? We have e-courses, we have toolkits, we have ways that you can really center in that, and then prompts to help you really think about how you can show up in your community right now. So know that is there for you. And with that, I'd like to close with one final question, and that is, what's one thing? Well, it's two questions. What's one thing that's giving you hope right now? And what's one thing that you would encourage women to do right after this event or right after they're listening to this? So, Senator, why don't I start with you? What's one thing that's giving you hope and one thing that you would encourage women to do? Small thing, just after listening in on this.
Something that's giving me hope. Look, I'll just say all the young people who got involved, and all the young people in my life. I have a 4-year-old niece, and she gives me hope, that times will not always be like this, that there is a future that we have to fight for. And so that gives me hope and motivation. What I would recommend women do after this is center yourself, figure out what your
Mm,
goals are and how you want to serve. And if it's elected office, do it. Most
mm,
people, as long as you know, I mean, most people have no idea how to be a legislator until they become a legislator. Okay.
that's real.
So do it afraid. Do not think that you are unqualified, because I have some colleagues that are unqualified. I could highlight them for you. So into yourself, figure out what you want to do, and don't talk yourself out of your dreams.
Yes, yes. Representative.
Well, I'm inspired. I think that now more than ever, we are all committed to being the change we wish to see. I think we're much more committed to that now. Kind of that whole notion of don't look away. I mean, we have got to
Mm,
stay dialed in and again, locked arms with each other, and committed to the change that we want to see, however small it may be starting off. And then one thing that I want to encourage women to do after they hop off this call is I was brought to this organization by a friend that I actually
mm,
see on here. Her name is Amy Lamb,
yes.
and she encouraged and inspired me to keep going. And so I want you to send a text or pick up the phone and make a
Ah,
call and tell that woman in your life that you admire and adore, and, you know, tell them to keep going.
yes.
Tell them that you're in it with them. Tell them how amazing they are. Tell them how thankful that you are for their courage. Do something amazing together, because we have got to keep our path lit. We have to keep
Mm,
it lit together. And so keep that positivity among your circles. It's what will fuel everything.
mm. Do it afraid, do it together, lift one another up, y'all. Oh, thank you. Thank you both so very much, Senator Akbari and Representative Wilburn. I just again appreciate you sharing your thoughts and words clearly from your hearts today. Much more to come to all, but thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate everyone.